Hey, top of the morning to you. Michael here. Grandkids call me Roo. Welcome to my studio on Friday morning. I'm not here on many Friday. Well, I'm here, but I'm not on live on many Friday mornings. But I wanted to take a few minutes with you today. Some of you will see this in the replay. I'm on the road this weekend, so I will not be going live in the morning. I'll be watching a grandson in a track meet, and I won't be the best audience. And here's why: is because even though he's a sprinter and a half-mile runner, he's been doing so well in the 2 mile. They're putting him in the 2 mile, so we're going to see him. And we hear the gun go off. We see him go by, and then I guess I'll paint for the next 20 minutes until he comes back. So, but the important part is that we're there to cheer him on and be that parade of Providence that welcomes him into the finish line. See how he does. Uh, it's great for him. He's 13 years old, and he's built like a runner, and he loves Chariots of Fire. So if you haven't seen the movie, you should watch it. Hey, so I'm on live right now, and here's the reason that I'm on live. And by the way, I didn't even put my studio back together after the television shoot. So this is where I do a lot of my. There's a microphone right there with the screen. This is where I do a lot of my voiceovers, and of course that's close to the wall. If you see, you got my headphones there. Well, there's Bob Ross up there on my desk too. So usually this has got a black backdrop in front of me, but we did the video shoot here. And so I like this mess behind me because it's really the real working world. So I'm not trying to mask it today. Anyway, uh, so here we go. I'll just show you. In fact, I'll show you that wall right now. Here's the studio wall again, just if those of you who didn't see this. This is what I do with all of my, let me get rid of that. People who've asked me about the PBS shoot. And look, it's television. It's a lot like I'm doing right here. You're just seeing me on a different screen, and it's not produced by TV. But I'm honored and flattered that they came over. And how they found me was I was doing a workshop on journaling, not just painting in my paint books from my Kilimanjaro paint books. You know, I paint those all the time, um, which are this one here. This is the Kilimanjaro paint book, and also this paint book here. I paint in these all the time. They also, I know Cheap Joe's also makes another journal that is 140-pound watercolor paper. If you want to stay with that, and sometimes I use B paper, which is about 93-pound, but it's a good journal paper if you just want to rip through things very quickly. When Max came from PBS to shoot the piece, he said, one of the folks that you did a workshop for live, one of the anchor's daughters was in that shop, and I had no idea. And he said, the thing that I loved about, and the reason I said yes to this interview, which by the way is supposed to be about a 4 minute plus piece, it only took us 5.5 hours to shoot it. So, but it was great. I made grilled cheese, 6 hours, but I made grilled cheese sandwiches, and we talked, and we went off to Brinkman's coffee shop where I display some of my work. And I said, I talked about you guys a lot because you are a great community of people who have plugged along with me and who have literally said, hey, we'll show up. We'll think like an artist. We'll stay behind the mule. I talked about Noodle Doodle Fiddle Piddle, and I talked about there are two hooks. One is tell me about this journal, the Concertina Journal, the Japanese Concertina Journal. I just come back from, of course, um, wherever I was, Wyoming, in the Grand Tetons and Yellowstone. Don't mix up those two parks. You'll be lost by several thousand miles. But the other part was just how I did that and why I do that, because I stressed what I stressed with you guys in journaling, why it's important. My art gets better. I am more in the presence and in the moment of where I am. That's so important. I'm not worried about what everybody else is painting. I'm not trying to copy somebody else's work. I'm just trying to say, what did I see? What do I want to watercolor? What do I want to note on this page that makes sense to me, that I remember? And the fact is that I remember it all almost. It's crazy what happens when, I'll say it again, when what goes from your heart through your head, out your arm, onto the paper. It's just remarkable what takes place. You remember where you were, you remember what you ate, you remember the weather, you remember the night lightning struck and the power went off at Yellowstone and we had to make crazy plans for dinner. And so you remember how you painted to a flashlight, and all those things come to fruition when you're journaling. And you carry small pads of watercolor paper, small palettes, small brushes or water brushes, and you just paint. So he was interested in that. And the other comment that Max was interested in is, what does it mean when I say think like an artist? I said, there's a whole group of people out there that I'm pushing. And I'm pushing hard to get you to recognize that you need to think like an artist. So I want to show you a little bit of this journal behind me here today. And so here's how it pops up. Let me go to a picture-in-picture. There's my big old head back there. Let me pull this out. Here's the notebook. He said, do you have an empty one of these that you can just start journaling while we're shooting this interview? And I'm going like, really? You want me to multitask? I mean, women are great at this. Men are like, I don't know if I can kick the football and make the tacos at the same time. So here's what I did. I opened up a page and I just put on here the PBS show. I will keep you posted of the links. This is going to run on PBS Charlotte, but it'll go to YouTube and I'll have links. It'll take you to their site so you'll be able to see it and share it. I talked about my dear friends, the Roost Crew friends a lot. So I said PBS stands for Please Be Sensitive, okay? And then I said, let's get some B-roll, okay? So then I just started painting, and this was with T. And he said, wow, those are cool rings. And I said, let me show you how I do one. And he actually shot me painting one, and I'm dipping it in my tea, and I'm painting around the cup like this. And I go, this is the kind of stuff that I fail at. This is the kind of stuff that I succeed at. This is the kind of stuff that I show my art folks. And so as we sit down, we did this, and then I'd stop and interview questions. And then I thought, well, the bee needs a flower, keep the bees, keep the honey. And then so I thought, but I think this needs to be a musical piece. And so what I started doing was just drawing this, the whole concept of a musical piece. And then let me tell you where this has led. Had no start of this, no travel journal, just a day in the life. And I painted this. And then we shot an interview with Carol, the little French blue hen, and I said, let it roll. And so I had the accordion there, and then I did a band outside of just, yes, come on, you can do this, and I'll show you what it looks like. And then I went with a banjo player, and we had coffee. And then what this has turned into now is a journal that I'm going to finish on my life. What? I've never done one like that. Why think like an artist, he said. And I said, it's because when I think like an artist, I tend to conduct myself and my art project in a way that has a musical beat to it of some sort. There's some sort of a rhythm that takes over when the journal takes over. I know that's really strange, but it's true. And so then what has happened is, as I started to unfold this thing, you can see that the next one was, well, where did that start? Why did you think like an artist? And I went back to BE, again, Bluegrass Elementary, and it was third grade. When did the music start? It was a $35 used Master Tone guitar. I think it was made by Sears in those days, so I haven't painted this yet. And I was the third act. And I came up on the stage and I drew a little crowd there and I sang a song that was new to me. And this was third grade in my life. And I'll tell you whose song it was. It was Hank Williams singing, Your Cheating Heart. And I could kind of hit that a little yodel back then. And so, and then I thought, wow, he's going to sing a Hank Williams song, Your Cheating Heart. And it was then that I drew a hook. And I went, wow. It was a new view. It was a hook of many things, and I'm going to paint this. I'm going to roll this in, and you know what I do when I paint lines like this, and probably yellow coming down. I'm thinking it's sort of in a way it was like it was a heavenly whoop that I felt affirmation, I felt excitement, I felt confidence, I felt a course change, I felt a calling, and I thought I want to be a songwriter and a singer. And that's how it all started. And so I'm thinking, I've never done this before in my own life. So I'm going to journal this rest of this page just on kind of how I got to Roo. So that if that interview does nothing else, and if it shows up on PBS, and if it doesn't, it has spawned in me a path, a torch to carry for this next thing. And by the way, I want to add here, I didn't even win the competition. It was a talent show at the school. And only people come are uncles and aunts and moms and dads, and brothers and sisters don't want to be there. And, you know, because somebody in the family is doing something that they're getting more recognition than I am. And anyway, I was third. And I was third grade, third place, the third act on stage. And the people who won, I wrote, were a group of my friends who were pantomiming a Beatles song, I Want to Hold Your Hand. And I told myself on the way home, well, they pantomimed, and at least I sang. In fact, I yodeled through it. So I was building up my own self-confidence, which you have to do in art. And what if I write my own songs? And now I'm going to continue. So I'm pushing you today at a little short time to say live here and say what happens when you start on a project that sometimes you don't even know where you're going, but you're thinking like an artist. So I'm going to continue that. And that takes me all the way back to the third grade. I'm going to miss some steps in there, but I'm going to continue painting this. I'll take it with me today. And while I'm watching a cross-country meet, which is like looking out across the field because they've gone down a trail and behind the woods and through the other neighborhood and back around, I'm going to be doodling and finishing this. Why didn't I paint this here? Because, you know, my Think Like an Artist Roo has this purple stringy hair coming out, and then I'm going to go back and put together the rest of the story and let it just be a little travel journal on my story of Now I Watercolor. And I'll send Max a copy of this so he can see how he initiated this idea. I hope you're doing something creative today. I hope even if it's you sit down and take a new piece of paper, maybe a new shape, a new size, and you create something that you can do and say, what if I just painted this today? What if I were thinking like an artist and I put together something that I never thought about putting together before? So I just wanted to say blessings to you all for encouraging me. Please continue to encourage each other. I told a story. I don't know what will be used, but I talk forever. I know that's hard for you to believe, but I don't even know if you can hear this audio. I don't think I turned it on. Maybe I did. But that you would continue to encourage others and be truthful sometimes. If something needs some correction, look, we're not art critics, but you can say, hey, I don't know if that connects well. Be a good friend who tells the truth too. You know, sometimes I get a piece of art that I have to look at and say, what do you think of this? Isn't it great? And I go, it's interesting. But what if you did this and this? What if you did this? And I don't do that as a art critic. I do that as a friend saying, my wife is great at that. When I'll write a verse to a song sometimes and she'll go, or a verse to a poem and she'll go, I don't think your audience is going to connect with that line. You do because of your past history. Does that bother you? And I go, no, I'd like for them to look it up. Or, you're right, I could use a better word, or I could use a different color there. So I'm asking you to push yourself again at the end of this summer, going into fall. Here's the other thing that I want to say. Journaling is not an original idea, but where I'm taking it feels kind of like it's my story. It's my original idea. It's like playing the guitar and singing versus just pantomiming a song. So when are you going to find your style and your visual voice and your concept to put down on paper what it is that you really see and want to paint? Paint what you love, people. Paint what you love. Okay? Hey, I love having you as an online audience. Someday I would love to be in some cities and maybe just spend a couple hours in one place just talking and reminiscing and answering questions and encouraging you in person. That'd be fun to do. So let me know if any of those opportunities pop up, and maybe I'll just come and do it sometimes. Blessings to you. Hope you enjoy watching this. I'm going to post something maybe later today. Other than that, I'm probably out of here like a herd of turtles, load up my suitcase, and head off to Knoxville, Vegas, as we call it, Knoxville, Tennessee, to go to a track meet. Mm-hmm. I love it, though. I love that family, love that grandson. So see you soon. I'm out of here. I did finish out my show with my orchestra, and this is kind of where this goes. You see that this rooster here is conducting, and there's a little bit of that conducting that goes with thinking like an artist. So this, by the way, is the moleskin, but there's all kinds of journals, and if you want more information on that, call my friends at Cheap Joe's Art Stuff and say, hey, what do you got that's great journal paper? And they'll list about 5 things for you. Make sure it holds weight and water and color well, and it's not buckling up all the way. That's what I like about this. That's what also I love about heavier watercolor paper, okay? And I don't think I like people turning through in a book. I just like this unfold thing, but you got to commit if you're going to do this. All right, blessings to you. I'm out of here. I was going to go 15 minutes. I'm a minute and 15 seconds over.